Welcome back to Ronnie's Resonant Reviews. Getting straight to it, I have an album review this week. Now, this is a bit of a unique case. I follow a ton of artists on Instagram. It's probably one of my top sources for finding new artists and paintings and stuff. And one who I've been following for a few years is Woodrow White. I first found him from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie from 2023, Mutant Mayhem. Woodrow White was the lead character designer, and I believe generally just the lead artist and designer for most of the movie. And if you've seen that movie, you've seen his style of very weird and wonky character designs and very intentionally imperfect and interesting looking worlds. It's hard to fully describe, but you should definitely check him out on Instagram and go watch the TMNT movie. It's absolutely amazing. Anyways, I was on his page and came across a piece of art he made for a musician as an album cover. This album is Dark Carnival by Marc, who you might have heard from for his books, writing, or his contributions on video games with his time at Valve. He also wrote a short in the 80s called 400 Boys, which was adapted in the latest season of Love, Death, and Robots, and that episode's really great. Anyways, I hadn't heard of him before, but I was already hooked from the album art. I recommend looking it up for the art alone, but if you're listening to this episode while driving, the cover features a seemingly disembodied giant's head at its centerpiece. It's a very green-tinted, middle-aged man's head, with glasses and graffiti markings all over his massive face. There's also two cloaked figures surrounding him, one sitting on his ear area, and one in front. Off in the distance, past the shadow of a forest, there's a silhouette of a Ferris wheel, which explains the title, Dark Carnival. Needless to say, the artwork is really, really great, and demands your attention, so props to Woodrow White for that. I'll probably return to the artwork after talking about the actual album, and with that, it's time to talk about the album. I'm happy to say that this album did the artwork justice, and vice versa. It's a sort of folk or rock album with very interesting production and ambient elements throughout. There's striking electronic instrumentals and experimental moments, as well as more classic rock sounds with clean guitar compositions and nice drums. All this as a bed for the pleasant vocals and interesting lyrics of Marc. It seems to me, based on the credits section on Spotify, that this whole album was written and composed by Marc, with production and engineering by Ryan Pauly. Before getting into each song, I want to mention a few inspirations that I didn't catch on my listen. Apparently, this album is named after a collection of short stories by Ray Bradbury, and a review posted on Marc's Instagram described the album as some David Lynch musical drama, as well as comparing the album's sound to The Doors. So it's clear that this album drew inspiration to a wide variety of art and styles. Really neat. Now, without further ado, let's get into the track list. This album is 8 songs long and clocks in at 32 minutes, so it's definitely something to pop on whenever you find yourself with a free half hour. The project opens with Do You Follow the Band, and we're immediately thrust into the semi-experimental oddball sounds to the album, before establishing the guitar grooves and drum beat for the song. The track features some interesting distortion and droning background notes, and plenty more small details that really fill in the whole atmosphere for the song. The song's lyrics are in a very flow of ideas style, with Marc simply laying down several vibrant pictures and letting the listeners piece them together. It's comprised of 3 main verses in between each chorus. Each is very abstract and interpretable, my favorite being this one that goes, "Lost in a zeeker, no pit is deeper than the one they threw me into when they thought I was a seeker. All flesh is vapor, inhale the reaper. Am I an acolyte or just another tweaker?" It's very interesting stuff. I haven't really pieced together what the through line of the song is, but to me, the chorus of the song, the repeating chant of Do You Follow the Band, is about whether you fit into society or follow the bandwagon, and about how the speaker feels out of sync or on a different pace than the world going by around him. The verses are very abstract, but they all communicate a sense of not knowing where to go next or falling behind in some way. It's a very strong opener, and I'd like to hear what y'all make of the writing. The second track is where I feel the quote-unquote story of the album kicks in. It's not a story album, but there's a theme of reflecting on the past and past relationships and nostalgia, and that comes into play on track 2, 19711, which I assume means 1981, which lines up with Marc being 21 years old. The song perfectly evokes this sense of nostalgia with, for example, this verse, There's something going down while I'm just sweeping up, trading baseball cards for beer and coffee cups, which makes sense with him being 21, getting rid of childhood memorabilia, trading for alcohol. There also seems to be mentions of a past relationship that he doesn't look fondly on, seemingly someone who cheated on him, making the feeling of the song go from fond nostalgia to bitter regret. The chorus being, I'm always counting backwards to 19711, implying how much the past weighs on his mind, regardless of sweet or sour memories. The song also goes further into interesting and experimental sounds and distortion, but the main interest of the song is that feeling of reflection and nostalgia. The next song is the song with the clearest story to it. It's called David's Not Himself Tonight, and if there's any song I might recommend from this album as a standalone, it might be this, just for the slowly revealing beats of the story at the heart of the song. The song starts with the mysterious phrases, David's not himself tonight, that's what the orderly said, he went to sleep an hour ago, and now we gotta get him out of his bed. The song very slowly unwraps, but by the end of it, we know that David is Marc's dad, and that when the second person is saying he fell asleep an hour ago, he really means that he died in his sleep. It's really effective to show the shock of finding out someone you love died. It's very moving from a lyric standpoint and an instrumental standpoint. The soundscape features ominous harmonies of a choir, over top a simple drum beat and some beautiful electronic guitar licks and piano lines. It's a very good song, and it sets up what seems to be the main theme of this album being Marc's dad.
David's not himself tonight, that's what the orderly said. He went to sleep.
The next song, Smile in Your Sleep, starts with the lyrics, Does it weigh you down? And includes lyrics like, Can't you speak about your loss? And others that make it clear that this song is probably a continuation on reflection and the loss of his dad. Although this song sounds kind of bittersweet with the start of the show being this deep bass line and emotional strings and piano melodies, but after further listens, it seems to me like this song is really about hope. It's about the grieving process and trying to focus on happy memories and make the mental imagery of his late father one of positivity. The last verse includes a line that goes, A cautious grin you hold within, you can't admit you've hidden from yourself. A ray of hope, a fraying hope, as hand by hand you climb up from the well. And I think those lines are very indicative of the song's themes. He admits that he's at a very shaky and hard moment in his life, but he also recognizes that he has to keep going and try to honor his dad. And he really did with this song. The title and chorus of the track being Smile in Your Sleep evokes this idea of Marc seeing his dad in his dreams, and that bringing him joy, and turning that joy into this bittersweet, but ultimately very hopeful song.
I see a smile.
The fifth track, Animal, Vegetable, Mineral, My Love, is maybe the most abstract song on the album. Each verse is seemingly describing a different past love, while using nature-themed metaphors and wordplay to do so, following the structure of the title and chorus, with the first verse using animal-themed languages and description, the second vegetable, and the third mineral. The instrumental is full of more string compositions as well as some accordion action over a very groovy drum beat. It's a very cool song. It's one that I don't have a ton to say on, but it continues the nostalgic themes as well as the more abstract ideas and off-kilter musical sounds.
Animal, vegetable, mineral, my girl. Animal, vegetable, mineral, my girl. Animal, vegetable, mineral, my girl, my girl, my.
The next song, Infinitely Long Legs, opens up with a very striking electronic sound. The whole track builds on these repeating background beeps with slow droning guitar licks and echoey vocals. It reminds me of Lost Without You by Blink-182 or Radio Towers by Ethel Payne. It's the track with the most contemplative sound or atmospheric sound, if that makes sense. It's also, in my opinion, the song with the most interesting writing. I believe it's the last song on the album directly about Marc's dad. It's a 3.5-minute song, but it's very slow-paced and only covers essentially one verse, and I think the best way to try and analyze it is to just read out this whole song. I open up my suitcase and your scent fills the room. I catch myself in the mirror and I appear to glow. I wonder if they wonder what's gotten into me, does it show? I don't think this is in danger of fading. Should I go? But how would I know? These opening 6 lines very vividly describe the lingering memory of a loved one and what seems to be a description of the strange feeling that Marc has, this fear of your grief going away and not wanting to move on from the sadness of this loss, the danger of fading. The rest of the song goes, unprepared for passion, I plunge into space, till I plant in the earth at your feet, and looking up at your infinitely long legs, I see your eyes smiling down on me from among the stars, the furthest heavens in your hair, and I see everything in between here and there. These lines are probably my favorite on the album, with this incredibly unique description of Marc feeling the presence of his dad looking down at him peacefully, his infinitely long legs planted right by him. It's really beautiful, and this is probably my favorite song on the album.
Looking up your infinitely long legs, I see your eyes smiling down on me from among the stars.
The penultimate track is titled Come On Let's Disappear. It's the second longest on the album and has the longest word count, I believe. It's another song with very flow of thoughts, abstract writing, and one that took me a bit to understand, but it seems like this is a song about Marc's dread towards the current internet landscape and social environment. It's about sort of losing yourself in the ever-expanding life we live on our computers and phones. I also feel like the title is a double meaning, one being disappearing into the digital world in a very negative light and losing your personality and uniqueness, and the other being disappearing in the opposite direction, meaning going off the grid and disappearing from the internet world, so disappearing in a positive light, and trying to save your sanity by limiting your time on your phone and whatnot. It's a song that seems to sort of depart from what most of the album is communicating, but it still keeps the style and mood of the rest of the project. There's also some more accordion action on the forefront of the instrumental and some angelic choir background vocals and more orchestral elements. It's just another solid track.
Come on, let's disappear. Come on, let's disappear. Why wait when every minute more and more of us are here?
Finally, the album ends with the track Just Say Yes or Maybe No. It has the most experimental and crazy sound with this weird electronic manipulation of an acoustic guitar sound that feels on brand with the Carnival theme and kicks into a more fast-paced jig with some filtered vocals and shaky drums. It's another track without too many lyrics, also some of the most abstract lyrics, and probably the song that I don't understand the most. It still captures the strange tones of the rest of the album's writing, and has some moody themes, but yeah, I don't really know the through line and concept of this last song. It's still a very enjoyable listen, and a great closer.
Just say yes, or maybe no. Just say yes, or maybe no. Just say yes, or maybe no. Just say yes, or maybe no.
Those are all the tracks of the album, and bringing it back to the album cover, it really started to form a stronger connection as the album went on. It's still a very abstract image, but one that really fits with the mood of the album. To me, it seems like the drawing depicts a middle-aged Marc who's in a strange phase of his life, learning about his dad's passing and going through heartbreaks, and changing as a person. And this imagery of younger Marc is drawn through the lens of current Marc, who feels a strange sense of detachment, dissociation, and nostalgia towards this time in his life, which to me explains the fact that he's drawn as a severed giant's head, and fits the expression his head is making. And the graffiti and cloaked figures, to me, represent the environmental factors of his formative years and the darker events that shaped him. It all just works and helps build the larger picture of this album, and it's a great album indeed. I'm giving Marc Laidlaw's Dark Carnival an 8.5 out of 10. I don't have a strong personal relation to the themes of the album as much as I would need to bump this album up to a 9 or a 10, but it's still something that really drew me in with each passing moment, and that's helped by the great writing and production. So go check it out. That's it for today's episode. Check out Review Ronny on Instagram and YouTube for more on the show. And before I let you listeners go, it's time for Ronnie's Joke of the Week. If Marc Laidlaw worked at the titular Dark Carnival from his album, then they would have to make him Prime Minister of Canada, because he would be a Marc Carney. See you next time on Ronnie's Roadside Reviews.
Hey, Ronnie. Ronnie? Good reviews?
Fabulous reviews.
This is Ronnie. Make it good.
Suppose Ronnie could have been a
Reviewer.
It's Ronnie, all right.
Ronnie?
Reviews.
Fabulous reviews.
And this is the best review we got.